Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. It is Monday. It is Wednesday. Week 8.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Week 8 of high school football this week. Got a lot of games to get to. We'll get to our picks in a few minutes. Thank you to the Insurance Circle agency, myinsuranccircle.com, West Michigan's family-driven insurance solution provider. That is Adam. I am David Rice. Really quick before we get to the break and get to our game picks. High school boys soccer districts, the semis and the district finals happening over the next couple of days. Tuesday night, Chelsea defeated the Jackson Vikings in a shootout, 3-2. It was a great game. Jackson was up 2-1 late in the second half. Chelsea came back and scored at the end to force overtime. Then they forced a shootout, and Chelsea eliminates the Vikings. Tonight, Wednesday night, it's the Division III district final at Hillsdale, a really good matchup between two Cascades rivals, Grass Lake and Columbia Central. And on Thursday in Division IV, the final at Stockbridge, Jackson Christian, a tall task against Hillsdale Academy at 4:30 on Thursday. So look for photos and results from that on our website. And this weekend, October 17th and 18th, is the Girls Golf State Finals, MHSAA Finals, Division IV at Cat Key Golf Course at Ferris State University. Columbia Central, Napoleon, and Lumen Christi all partaking in the Golf State Finals. And next week on Monday, October 21st, and Tuesday the 22nd, in Midland, it's the Division IV Boys Tennis State Finals for the Lumen Christi Titans. We've got a special guest today on our game picks presented by Prate's Place, longtime partner and a good friend of JTV from Alliance Service Brands and the Handyman Company, Brick by Brick Construction, and the Brokerage House. Man of everything, Nick Laporte will be joining us and giving us his football knowledge. So excited to have him, and he will join us on the game picks presented by Prate's Place when we come back. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle agency. Also, thank you to Prate's Place in downtown Grass Lake. We were just there yesterday.
It was amazing food.
Yes. Man, that mac and cheese I had.
Oh,
really
it looked so good. My salad was amazing. The pulled chicken was phenomenal.
Yeah. All sorts of great stuff there. We'll see some content from them on the show coming up very soon. So thank you to Prate's Place in downtown Grass Lake for helping us bring you the Week 7 game picks today. Not only that, we have a special guest joining us now, too, for the picks. This week's guest picker, I'd like to welcome from Alliance Service Brands as well as the Brokerage House in Jackson, Nick Laporte, now on with us on JTV. Nick, appreciate you joining the show, and thanks for doing this. Excited to have you on.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I enjoy watching it every week, and I do enjoy local sports, but also the greater Michigan college and pro sports.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. We've got a lot of games to get to, so should get into it right away. Let's start in the high school games. Week 8 already. Time's just flying by. It's already week 8. Stockbridge will start in the Big 8. They are 3-4. They are hosting Sand Creek. Sand Creek, the last couple of weeks, has had to forfeit their games due to low numbers and too many injuries. We talked with Doug Donnelly about it on the show last week, so they've had to forfeit some games. They travel to Stockbridge. I am going to take Stockbridge to go 4-4. Nick, who you got?
Yeah, I got Stockbridge too. A big-armed quarterback, Sandusky, over 1,400 yards total scrimmage. I think he's got it handled.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Stockbridge as well for the same reasons, but I think more because like Sand Creek's had to forfeit some games. It's really tough to come back after you do that. So I got to take Stockbridge here to go 4-4 on the year.
All right, staying in the Big Eight, Springport, one of two undefeated teams still in Jackson County. 7-0, they are going to Union City. Springport has already clinched at least a share of the Big Eight. They can win the conference outright this week at Union City. I'm going to take Springport big. I don't see why not. They've just been rolling all year, and the points they've been scoring have been ridiculous. So shout out to Coach Ben Pack and his team at Springport. So I'll take the Spartans. Let's go to Nick.
Yeah, Springport was tested a little bit last week with Decatur, but yeah, Springport rolls on, and I think they'll probably play in a crossover as the number 1 seed next week.
Yeah, I mean, I got to take Springport here as well. They've just been so dominant. I don't think I've picked against them yet this year, so I'm just going to keep the train rolling. Going to pick Springport 8-0. Can you believe it? I guess I can believe it because going into the season, we thought they were going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, and we mentioned the crossover. Now, this is new this year for those that don't know, because the Cascades East and West play each other in the crossover. The Cascades in Big 8 don't have their crossover anymore, so the Big 8 is actually doing a crossover with the Southwest 10 Conference. And one of the teams in there is Bronson, Cassopolis, and those teams down in the Southwest 10 area. So that's some good D8 football down there too. So I'm taking, I think, all of us Springport across the board to go 8-0. Cascades West, Hanover Horton, they are 5-2. They can clinch outright the Cascades West and get back into the Cascades Championship game this week. They host Addison, coming off their first win of the year against Homer. Hanover, after losing 2 of the first 3, they've just been great all across the board. Special teams last week, too. So I'm taking Hanover big to go 6-2.
Yeah, I'm the same. Addison's having a tough go this year. Hanover righted the ship, I think, coming out of the gate after week 3. Hanover wins.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Addison surprised us and got the win. Didn't surprise Doug. Doug had Addison in that game. But, Hanover's just looked so good. I have to pick Hanover here. We'll see how Addison performs, but, they might be, kind of having the momentum from last week, but I think Hanover's going to win this game.
And a couple more games in the Cascades West. Columbia Central, they can still make the playoffs. They are 4-3, but they have to win this week, and they got to get the win next week to stay alive for it. But it's possible. They're 4-3. They go to Homer, who coming off that loss to Addison. I will take the Golden Eagles big at Homer.
I'm the same. Columbia Central, much better than last year. I went and saw a couple of their games last year. They weren't too good, but it looks like they're getting better. 2-3 touchdown win for Columbia Central over Homer. Homer had a rough go last week. I want to give a little shout out to a family friend, the kicker, high school soccer star Eli Hawley for Columbia Central. Golden Eagles big.
Yeah, same here. I love being able to pick the Golden Eagles, and I think this is a great spot for them. I would love for them to make the postseason, so I'm all about that. So I got to take Columbia Central here.
It would be tough for them in the postseason, though, with them being in Division 6. But it would be great for that program and Coach Zaborowski to get back in the playoffs.
Just to be able to have a shot at winning winning a playoff game is huge for that program. So I really want to see them in there.
Yeah, and it'd be tough because they would play either Olivet, Napoleon, or Lumen Christi in the first round. But they're still alive for it.
Yeah.
We'll find out in these next last couple of weeks. One more game in the Cascades West. Jonesville, they just lost to Columbia on that goal line stand on the last play. Jonesville hosting Vandercook. Vandercook, tough loss to Hanover Horton last week, but they had a great start to the year. I am going to take Jonesville at home to go to 5-3.
Yeah, I agree. Vandercook doing a little bit better this year under Coach Medina. They got 3 wins, but I think out of those 3 wins, there's only 1 win amongst those 3 teams. Vandy doing well. Got their first win, I think, on 11v11 since 2018. That actually is the home of Alliance Service Brands at the old McDevitt Elementary School. So we keep up with Vandercook Lake pretty well. And, like I said, Coach is doing pretty well with things, getting some kids out to play. But I think, Jonesville is probably a little too strong for them, and the wins that Vandercook does have weren't very strong to begin with. So Jonesville by 10 points.
Man, I thought he was about to pick Vandercook. I thought we were right there. Yeah, I'm going to take Jonesville here. At the beginning of the season, if you told me that they were going to be 4-3 in this spot, I would have been extremely surprised to know that their schedule isn't the easiest in the world. But I'm going to pick Jonesville here, even though I think Vandercook Lake has a shot in this game. I just got to take Jonesville. They're just really good offensively, and I've always loved their program, so I'm taking Jonesville here.
All right, let's go to the Cascades East, Grass Lake. Going to Manchester. Manchester, of course, a couple weeks ago, big win over Leslie to really mess up Leslie's chances of coming out of the East. The Michigan Center loss for Leslie didn't help, and then losing to Manchester after that. And Manchester 54-14 win last week over Niles Brandywine. Give me the Dutch at home over Grass Lake.
What did Lee Corsi say? Hold on, my friend. Is that what is?
Not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast. I did some research on this game because I was surprised when I looked at these results that Grass Lake was not doing very well. So I did some digging, and this is going to be my upset of the week for high school football.
Wow.
I think Grass Lake will come out and win an ugly game. Manchester's wins did not terribly win me over. So I'm going to go Grass Lake to get their first real wins. I think their win they do have is a forfeit. So, yeah, Manchester just, I don't think really looked terribly good in the wins they do have. And they got gave up some points on their losses. So I'm going to go upset alert, Grass Lake over Manchester.
I love it. I love it.
Real quick, Adam, before you make you brought up a good point. Other than the Leslie win, the other wins for Manchester they've been ugly wins. Mm-hmm. They beat Addison 12-6. The Niles Brandywine win last week. Niles Brandywine isn't good. It was 54-14. So that great point there, Nick. So I don't think it's fully out of the question for Grass Lake. Now they've really struggled, but this would be good for them and end of the season, get a morale boost for them. But still a tough game for the Warriors. Adam, you got?
I'll let you switch your pick to Grass Lake, your alma mater, if you want. Oh, okay.
No.
Darn it. All right. No, I mean, I'll take Manchester here, but I love the pick of Grass Lake here. If you're going to pick an upset, I love that, and it'd be quite the upset. I would love for them to get their second win, but I got to just believe that Manchester is going to win this game, but we'll see. I think this is one of those games to watch this week because you could see Grass Lake win this game, and that would be huge for them. I would just hate for them to have one win throughout the rest of the season. So, but with that being said, I'll take Manchester.
All right, the game we will have live on JTV.
Big game.
The big game this week. Michigan Center 7-0 at home, hosting Napoleon 5-2. The winner will win the Cascades East Division. The winner will host the conference championship game next Saturday. Everything on the line. Napoleon looking to pull off a huge upset here. A D6 team beating one of the best teams in Division 5 in the state. Obviously, Michigan Center scored a whole bunch of points this year. But Napoleon historically, I mean, they were in the conference championship game, I believe, 2 or 3 years in a row, just a few years back when they played Addison for a few years and they played Union City in the championship game. I really love Napoleon. Adam, you know I love Full House T football.
Yeah.
But.
No, he threw the butt in there.
But I can't, just like Springport, I cannot pick against Michigan Center. They've scored too many points. Quarterback Hayden Hinkle has been unmatched. He can score with his legs. He can throw the football. They have tons of weapons in the backfield and receivers. But for Napoleon to win this game, they have to score first, and they have to have those 7, 8, 9-minute drives where they wear down the defense and get 4 or 5 yards at a time. But nobody's been able to do that against Michigan Center. So for that, I hate picking against Napoleon because I love their offense and I love Coach Shell and the team, but Michigan Center will go 8-0 and host the conference championship next week.
I'm with you. I'm not going to hold the lead. Michigan Center with Hinkle, juggernaut offense. I think they score 42-plus points a game other than the Leslie game. Napoleon's defense is pretty good, only giving up about 13 points a game, but I don't think they've seen a quarterback like Hinkle, except for maybe Cranmore and Leslie. But still, I think Michigan Center's going to have a hard time keeping up with the offense. Again, 42 points plus a game is just too much for Napoleon. Michigan Center, 2 or 3 touchdowns. Hinkle has a huge game.
Yeah, I will pick Michigan Center. I unveiled this on Monday's show that I was going to take Michigan Center.
Yeah, you already gave us a little sneak peek.
I did. But, I still love Napoleon in a close game. If it's a close game, if they're able to control it and their defense is able to ball out, they definitely have a shot. But I agree with Nick. I think Michigan Center's offense is going to be a little bit too much, and I think their defense is pretty darn good as well. So I have to take Michigan Center here.
Let's go to the I-8 Northwest, coming off a tough loss to Western last week in that rivalry game. Northwest going to Battle Creek to take on the Panthers of Penfield. Penfield has really struggled. We saw them live on JTV in Week 9 against Western last year. Western ran away with it. I like Northwest here and Coach Stafford Newsome to get back in the win column.
Yeah, I think Northwest has come a long ways the last couple of years. My daughter actually goes to Western. She's a senior, so I've watched some Northwestern games too. I'm sure they wanted that game back last week, especially getting Western while they're a little down. Northwest goes on the road to a nice new facility in Penfield. Much easier to play there now that they have turf rather than the old grass, crappy field. Northwest probably gets a good, ugly win at Penfield.
Yeah, last week, I really thought Northwest was going to beat Western. I really did.
Right.
And so I think they get the bounce back win here. I think they had a shot in that game, like we talked about on Monday's show. They really had a shot in that game if they would have controlled turnovers, if they would have scored that touchdown at the very end, and they wouldn't have had the ending of the first half that they had. But I'm going to take Northwest here. Big bounce back win for them. They're going to go to 3 wins.
Western, they just got the big win, as we just mentioned, over Northwest. They are on the road going to Hazlitt. Really tough game for them. Western is still the great rivalry win last week, but they've still struggled this year, still trying to build the chemistry on offense. New varsity quarterback this year, first-year head coach. We've said it before. I want to take Western again, but I don't see it against Hazlitt. So I'm going to take Hazlitt at home over the Panthers.
Yeah, last year Hazlitt came to Western, beat them up pretty bad. Their All-American running back, Corey Amajiri, I think he got injured in that game, but they still took care of business last year against Western. He's back now, having a great year, committed to Kansas, arguably the number 1 running back in the state of Michigan. He will run all over the Panthers this week. They're Division 4, I believe, but I think the only 2 losses they have are against undefeated Williamson, which is number 3 in D4, and undefeated DeWitt, which is number 1 and 3, Division 3, which both those teams will make deep runs. I think Amajiri 35, Western 7. I just think he takes the ball and runs all over Western's defense.
Yeah, I mean, for Western, this is not going to be a pretty game. I would love to say, I almost feel like if this was any other team, I'd probably pick Western in this spot, just saying that they're kind of getting on a little bit of a roll, I think, after what happened last week and having a really good showing in the Hunger Bowl. But, man, Hazlitt just looks so darn good. I have to pick Hazlitt here. And if you tell me that the running back for a team is committed to Kansas, I have to take them, so...
Yeah, and I thought he was going to play at MSU, but he ended up committing to Kansas. And yes, he did get injured in that game last year at Western, and that was season-ending, and he was out pretty much with that injury until up to this season again.
A little bit of a revenge game for him, I think. So
yes. Jackson Hyde, the Vikings are 2-5. They go to Adrian. Adrian, one of the best teams in Division 3. 3 or 4, I apologize off the top of my head, but one of the best teams in D3 or 4, Adrian, and their only loss, or only really super close game was that 3-0 game over Ypsilanti Lincoln, and they won a field goal on the very last play of the game. Adrian Big here over the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a little story. So, yeah, I got Adrian over Jackson. The only game Adrian has lost is against a good Chelsea team.
Yep.
And Chelsea, the only loss they have is against a really good Dexter Dreadnoughts team, which I see a lot of their games because my girlfriend's son goes there and plays football. So I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. So I've seen a lot of Dexter ball. So I know Chelsea is good. Jackson's not doing too well, and I don't think they're probably going to get another win this year. So I would say Adrian by 21.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, again, it's tough to pick against Jackson, but they just haven't been able to finish games. They were really close last week. I think that was a great sign, but Adrian is just going to be too much for Jackson here, and I think Adrian's going to play all 4 quarters extremely well, so I got to take them over the Vikings.
In 8-man action, Concord 4-3. They go to Adrian to take on Lenawee Christian, the Cougars, who are also 4-3. Lenawee Christian, they've scored a bunch of points this year, but so is Concord.
I was about to say.
Concord put up 64 against Holgate last week. I hate picking against Concord.
You always say that, and then you pick against them.
I know. I know every week.
I know.
I do, though. It's just it's a tough league they're in, and it's a tough schedule they play. Both teams have scored a bunch of points, but, who's going to score last? Who's going to score the extra touchdown? Concord, though, out of all the teams in the area, I think other than Lumen Christi, Concord might be the other team that's got, as far as who they've lost to, the best teams that they've played. But I will take the Cougars of Lenawee Christian here.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'll reiterate. Lenawee Christian scores an absolute ton of points. They put up almost 40 a game. But in their losses, they have given up an average of 56 points, and they keep their opponents right around 24. Can Concord keep up with the scoring? I think it'll be not as big a scoring game. I agree with you too. Concord's 3 losses are pretty solid, other than obviously compared to Lumen. Like you said, Concord has some pretty good losses. I think Concord will slip out a win, holding Lenawee Christian under 24 points.
Yeah, I'm taking Concord here as well. I know we talked about Michigan Center Napoleon being the game of the week. This might be the most fun game of the week to watch because it's just going to be crazy amount of scoring. It's going to be tons of fun to watch. I'm taking Concord here. I just love them in this game.
This has been 3 weeks in a row now where everybody else has picked Concord.
What are you doing?
For me.
What are you doing?
I know.
It's bitten you a couple times. So yeah, I'm going to take Concord here.
A big Division 7 matchup. Leslie, they went from 4-0 to 4-3, just lost to Napoleon, Manchester, Michigan Center before that. They host Millington. Now, if you remember Millington from a couple years ago, they played Lumen Christi when Lumen was in D7 in the semifinal a few years ago. Lumen beat them 35-0. That was a really good Lumen Christi team that year. But Millington, so good. And their defense has been lights out this year. Millington 6-1. They're number 4 in Division 7 this year. Leslie would have been close to that at the start of the year. Leslie still has the ability to score a lot of points, but Millington has just been unbelievable. Obviously, their defense, too. So I'm going to take Millington at Leslie, and Leslie will go to 4-4 going into Week 9.
I agree. Millington is a solid team in Division 7. They're traditionally at least vying for a regional championship every year. Like you said, number 4 in the state right now in Division 7. My question is, can Cranmore at least keep up with them? Can his offense, Leslie, put some points up on the Millington defense? I'm not sure. I think Leslie will keep it closer than they think. But, yeah, Millington by 10.
Yeah, I mean, I just think going into this year with this game on the schedule, I would think that Leslie would have been like a 6 or 7 win team going into this game. But they've just been on that string of losses. And so I have to say that Millington wins this game. It might have been a little different if Leslie would have been balling out up to this point, and it would be maybe a little bit closer. You'd say they get a shot at it.
If they came into the 6-1, only losing to still maybe Michigan Center or Napoleon, that'd be a different story.
Yeah, so it's tough for me to pick against Leslie, especially since I've been picking them all, pretty much all year, and even in the game against Michigan Center, I thought Leslie was going to win that game, but Millington's defense is just unbelievable, so I'm taking Millington here.
On Saturday, Lumen Christi going up to Traverse City to take on the Gladiators of Traverse City, St. Francis. St. Francis, I expect them to be back in the state finals this year in Division 6. Now, will it be Lumen or Almont or maybe Marine City or even Ida that could play St. Francis at Ford Field? We'll find out here in the next few weeks when the postseason begins. I like Lumen. They've been playing really well, but they're 4-3, and that record just hasn't been. It's not holding up to the standard of how Traverse City St. Francis has been. I think St. Francis is the best team in the state in Division 6. So I'm going to take St. Francis big over Lumen Christi.
Big.
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, this is actually a bit of a rivalry game. I know it's a tradition that Lumen and Traverse City St. Francis play. I know they try to do a home and away every other year, obviously. So each kid, Lumen gets to do this trip up to Traverse City. Little fun fact, I actually played on this field. It's actually a very historic field. Thirlby Field in Traverse City actually hosts 3 high school football teams, Central, West, and St. Francis. Holds about 7,000 people. It's over 100 years old. Really cool venue.
Wow.
I played soccer when I was in high school. I grew up in Sheboygan, so an ode to the Big North Conference. Go Chiefs. I think Lumen's hit its stride. Their 3 losses are to 3 previous last year's state champions. I think they want that Divine Child game back. I think they probably should have won that. I think Tommy King and the boys at Lumen, I think, will make the trip up there. I think they'll win a really good, competitive, fun high school football game and probably be like 21-24 Lumen, I'd say.
Nick stole exactly what I was going to say. He stole my line. These losses that Lumen has had are extremely, extremely quality losses.
Yeah.
And the Divine Child loss, just like what Nick said, they should have won that game. I really, truly believed. I mean, I was there.
100%.
I was there, and
we had it live on JTV.
Yeah, and I thought they had that game, and they should not have lost that. So I think Lumen does win this football game.
Wow.
I think they've prepared for this to travel up to Traverse City, and they've, like I've said in the past, and they won the game that I said this with. I think they might not admit this, but they marked this on the calendar saying this was going to be a big
they
one.
want this game more than anything.
Yeah, so it's just like they should be, they should have 5 wins at this point, and they don't. This is where they're going to get that 5th win. I think this will help them roll into the playoffs, and I think with this win is really going to elevate them to maybe win a couple postseason games. So I'm taking the Titans here.
And I think
I wonder if they're going up there. I wonder if they're going up there a day early. I know a couple years ago they tried to go up there the morning of. The bus broke down. The parents had to go get the kids off the bus.
Yep.
Hopefully they're pulling to Michigan like last week at USC. Maybe they'll go out there a day early, get a walk around it on Saturday morning. And this is their last game of the year too, as well. I think regular season, I don't think they have a 9th week game, Lumen. So they might be able to, dig deep, know it's the last regular season game of the year, need that 5th win. Yeah, I think it's Lumen's to lose.
Next week, for week 9, it is the Catholic High School League Prep Bowl for Lumen Christi.
That's at Ford Field, isn't it?
That's at Ford Field
that's so
at
cool.
12:30 next Saturday. Back-to-back Saturday games. 12:30 they play Centerline, which is one of the best Division 4 teams. If Lumen could beat them and beat one of the best teams 2 divisions higher than them,
they're ready.
That would be. I would pencil them in as the state champ if that.
But I will say that, like, kind of what Nick said, like, this is in my eyes, this is their last kind of normal regular season games.
Right.
That's another reason I do think that they're going to win this game. This is their last one, because after this it's Ford Field, which is a big deal, and then it's going to be playoffs. And once they get a little taste of playing at Ford Field, a lot of these kids that maybe weren't on last year's squad, they're going to want to get back to Ford Field. So I think that this is kind of one step up to that. They might ride the momentum, win next week, and then it's playoff time.
Now, for Lumen Christi, I said it earlier this year after a couple of their losses, the passing game has to improve, and it has.
And it has, yeah.
And it has greatly improved. And they're still running the ball well, as they always do. So I think they are turning an edge, and I think they're playing better at the right time, which is now.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they're completely out of it against St. Francis, but St. Francis has just been really, really good. So let's go to the LCA. Hillsdale still looking for their first win. They go to Thompson Field to take on the legendary Hudson Tigers. Hudson big over Hillsdale.
Yeah, Hudson running clock halftime. Hillsdale has no answers for any of the three levels of the game: offense, defense, or special teams. Hudson rolls.
Yeah, and I hate to beat up on a team that's 0-7, but I just don't think they have it in this game. So I have to take Hudson here. That they're going to just keep rolling over Hillsdale. I just don't think that Hillsdale is going to get their first win here.
All right, let's go to college. The Saturday games, number 10, LSU and Brian Kelly going to Tennessee to take on the Pavia brothers and Vanderbilt. This was tough. I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, but
thank you.
but I will take LSU.
All right. I am not a Brian Kelly fan either.
Let's go.
I just don't like. I just never liked anything about him. Back to Grand Valley, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. Both teams 5-1. Both, I think, had real legitimate opportunities to be undefeated. I watched both those games in their losses. I do have to give LSU a slight edge on offense and defense, but Diego Pavia, I think that's how you spell his name, never can be counted out. He's got Vanderbilt in a place that I don't think they've been in a very long time. I did some research on this too. The Vandy coach, Clark Lee, L-E-A, was actually a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame under Kelly. With that knowledge and the understanding of Kelly, I give Vandy the edge with intangibles and the number 5th ranked special team efficiency. I want to go with Vanderbilt so bad, but I don't think I can. LSU by 2.5.
Oh man, you hyping it up for Vanderbilt.
You made me so
taking
excited.
LSU.
You made me so excited. Well, you know what, Nick? If you're not going to take Vanderbilt, I will take Vanderbilt in this game. I think it's a little bit of a revenge game, like you said. I think this will be one of the bigger wins for Vanderbilt in a long time, and I usually pick against Coach Kelly, even though I'm a Grand Valley alum. So I will. I'm going to take Vanderbilt here. I think they have a shot, right? Like if you look at Vegas has Vanderbilt at home being like a 2.5-point favorite or something like that. So they have it really close, and I think that shows you the respect that Vanderbilt has in this game. So I'm going to take Vanderbilt, man. I know it might be crazy, and this might really mess me up with the standings at the end of the year, but I'm taking them.
Yeah, it's Vanderbilt minus 2.5.
Yeah, yep, there you go. So I mean, hey, Vegas knows something like they usually do.
Michigan looking to get back, hopefully in the top 25 rankings. Really struggled against USC last week. They take on Washington. Go Blue.
Wise guys have Michigan by 6.5. I think that's a bit much. I'm a huge Michigan fan back to the early 90s even. I mean, Charles Woodson, Heisman Trophy. Michigan did not look good last week. I never turn games off, and I did not watch the fourth quarter of that game last week.
I don't blame you.
I get that.
Some uninspiring football. I think the defense Martindale will kind of get them back on track. I guess I was reading an article. They were going back to fundamental high school tackling drills. He was not impressed with their tackling, their urgency of tackling last week. I have Michigan, although the Washington quarterback, he's pretty quality dual threat quarterback in the Big Ten right now, Williams. I say Zavada with a game-winning field goal. Michigan, go blue.
Woo, let's go. Yeah, I think this will, just like you said, Nick, like this is not, I don't know if this is going to be a real fun game to watch. And I think for Michigan fans, because this is going to be a very close game the entire way in my eyes. And it could come down to the last play, like you said, Nick. I will give the edge to Michigan. They're at home. They really should beat Washington. It's will they beat Washington? And I think everybody's going to be very scared watching this game in the Big House. But I'm taking Michigan here. Go blue. I just really hope so. I just really hope. Maybe it's me hoping more than anything.
Now, I know Ohio State ran away with it, but Washington hung in there with the Buckeyes for part of that game.
You're right.
So, Michigan State, they just keep getting worse and worse. If that
does not look good for them.
That's possible by each week. They go to Bloomington to take on number 3 Indiana. Indiana minus 27.5. Indiana wins by even more than that.
I typically stay away from games that have this big a spread. But man, this Signetti guy, he's the real deal. I don't think he messes around. I think he'll hang as many points as he can on anyone. The Hoosiers will not pump the brakes. They will cover. Michigan State will be with Penn State and looking for a new coach. This might be the week that if it gets too far out of hand, if Indiana starts winning by 40 or 45, they might be looking for a coach as well.
Yeah, well, I heard there's a coach in the Big Ten that just got fired, so I'll say that he can't seem to beat Michigan, so I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I've been so impressed by Indiana. I think they're the best story that's happening right now in college football, and this is going to be a very easy game for them. I'm not impressed by Michigan State. I was trying to ask our resident Michigan State fan, Brandon, in the building. I was trying to ask him about this game, and he refused to talk to me about it. So I think that should tell you a little bit about what this game's going to be. So I'm definitely taking the Hoosiers here.
Big SEC battle at 3:30 on Saturday. Number 5, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss go to Georgia to take on Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. I'm always hesitant picking Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss in big games, but they're 6-0. They're number 5. I'm going to go out on a limb and take Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss to beat Kirby in Georgia.
All right.
Georgia, 7.5-point favors at home. Came enough, I think, not maybe last week, but 2 weeks ago, they beat Alabama. So Georgia's back on track. Ole Miss looking really good. They have the Ferris State University transfer quarterback, Chambliss, is looking really good. I don't know if he has ever dealt with a Kirby Smart defense before. Ole Miss keeps it close. Georgia defense too much for the transfer quarterback. Georgia by 3. So they do not cover, but Georgia gets the win at home.
Yeah, we know, because I mentioned it on the show a lot. I picked Georgia last year at the very beginning of the season, before the season even started, to win the SEC championship, and they pulled through for me. I'm going to take Georgia here for sure. But I think this is going to be close. Nick said 3. I was thinking around 4 points. It's going to be a close game. But boy, was I happy they picked Ole Miss, because I wanted to pick Georgia here. I wanted us to differ because I wanted that extra win. So, yeah, I'm going to say go Dogs.
The Crimson Tide hosting Tennessee. And Alabama, it's minus 7.5. But this could be a shootout. The total on the over-under is 58.5. So, I have family who attended Alabama, and we have family friends who live in Alabama right now. I can't pick against them. Roll Tide.
Tennessee's having a good year. They're getting some quality QBing from their transfer that took over for that whole situation with the quarterback. I can't say his name, Umalele or something like that. Went to UCLA. He's coming on clutch so far. Tennessee's having a good year. Alabama, it seems like after that loss to Florida State early, their coach has gotten things together. Alabama gaining momentum. I don't think they cover, so I think it's the same thing as the Georgia game. They win at home, keep home field advantage, but they win 28-21, so just underneath the cover.
I want to pick the Vols so bad here. My mom graduated from Tennessee, so I've always been a Tennessee fan. And I typically root against Alabama, at least most of the time. But Alabama's probably going to win this game. I agree. I don't think that they covered that spread. I think it's a little too much. But Alabama's probably going to win this game. But if Tennessee's able to win, I think players back in Tennessee are going to storm their field, even though the game's not happening there, and pull up the goalpost again, probably.
They're going to break into the stadium.
They will find a way. They will find a way. But yeah, I'm going to take Bama.
Another good game at 7:30 on NBC. Notre Dame, number 13, the Irish hosting USC, coming off the win against Michigan. I have Notre Dame here on my sheet, although Notre Dame, I don't think it's not the same with them this year.
Oh, do it then. Do it. Pick USC. Do it.
No, don't pressure me. I am going to switch my pick and take the Trojans of USC in South Bend over the Irish.
USC have a solid win at home last week against Michigan. I believe Notre Dame's favored by 8.5. It's a night game. It will be close. I believe I've watched a couple Notre Dame games, and I believe they are overhyped. Haven't really beat anyone, lost both the games they actually played against talented teams with talented coaching staffs. Freeman's seat is getting a little warm. USC with the upset, win with a late field goal.
Oh, man.
Wow.
All right. Well, I think I'll be the only one. Pat O'Dowd's going to love this. I'll be the only one picking the Irish here. And I'm not super impressed by Notre Dame, but I'm not super impressed by USC really either. I think Michigan kind of shot themselves in the foot with that game. But I'm going to take Notre Dame here kind of relatively reluctantly, I will say, just because I think this game – the spread doesn't show how much this game really is a coin flip. And in coin flips, I typically go, as I've always said, I go with the home team. So I'm picking the Irish to pick up the win.
All right, let's go to the Sunday games in the National Football League Sunday morning in London. I'm sorry for those that wake up early and have to watch the Rams in Jacksonville. Actually, this will be better.
I was going to say, this is probably the best of the London games so far, or of the overseas games. Yeah.
I feel sorry for anybody who woke up and watched Denver and the Jets last Sunday morning.
Yeah, that was rough.
I am going to take Stafford and the Rams against Jacksonville, although Jacksonville has been playing well. Just got that big win over Kansas City 2 games ago. But give me Stafford and the Rams.
Are you guys in favor, or do you guys enjoy the morning football on Sundays?
You know, I do. I wish the games were better, but I think some of that just has to do with it's an early morning game. It's a lot of travel, a lot of things go into it. But if the games were a little bit better, I love being able to wake up, get my morning coffee, sit there, watch the games, have a little bit of break, and then it's time for the 1 p.m. game. So I'm in favor of it, but I think it's a little too rough on these teams.
I agree. I think I like the games. I don't like that they want to add more, though. I think the amount of international games the NFL has now is fine. And also, if they want to expand their international reach and have the NFL be something global, like to soccer type level, you can't have Denver and the Jets and those kinds of teams on. That's all. And so if they want to expand, they have to have good games on. And I think this will be a good game.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, we've seen, I recently went to Pro Football Hall of Fame, talked on the show, and I saw something there that said, like, they've been doing preseason games in, like, London since, like, the 80s. I think it was, like, 84 or something in there. So it's like to be able to at least have regular season games is huge for that fan base. And we probably might have a different opinion if we were over there. We'd be talking about how much we love them. But Nick, what do you think about these?
I love it. I mean, I go to bed watching college football on the West Coast at like noon or midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So I always get that BYU game or that Arizona game.
Yep.
And then I just drove back over in the morning, turn my TV back on, and then I start watching the first game at 9:30 and have breakfast at halftime, and I get going. It's funny. I think Jacksonville owner, I think I read an article a couple years ago saying he would love to move Jacksonville to Europe.
Yep.
I think he's a European businessman in auto parts. I could see the next 10 years Jacksonville moving to Europe. They would send teams there, like to go play a home game against Jacksonville in London, and then they do like what the Vikings did, and then they would play like another European game. So you keep these teams over for 2 weeks. I think it might be a plan, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville becomes a London-based team in the next decade. Back to the game, Jacksonville's looking good this year. I think they're making strides. They're getting things going in the right direction. I'm still a Matt Stafford fan from his Lions. I enjoy always watching him play. He's just a fun watch. I think the Rams have a couple injuries. Not sure how their offense is going to do. Blake Corum, Puka, I'm not sure if he's playing. But I still think the Rams are a little bit too much for Jacksonville.
Yeah, so to tie back into the London thing real quick, and then I'll do my pick, is that, like, on top of that, thinking that they might travel there, his Khan's son, Tony Khan, owns a wrestling company, and they are huge.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are huge in England. That was actually the show that I went to at the Masonic Temple in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
They are huge in England, so I would not be surprised with that big of a fan base that both of them would benefit from moving to there. And that's why a lot of people consider, a lot of Jacksonville fans there, they consider this a home game for Jacksonville. Yeah. And I think from what I saw out of the Rams after Puka Nacua got out early in the game last week, is that this team looks a little different without one of the best receivers on the planet playing. Not a big shock there. I think this game could benefit the ground game, so you think I would maybe lean towards the Rams, but I just think he's questionable right now, so anything can happen. But I think if Puka doesn't play, that falls right into Jacksonville's lap. I'm just going to say, since he's on my fantasy team, I'm just going to expect him not to play. So I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this game. But This is not going to be a super fun game to watch, but it'll be an early game, so it's always fun to watch those.
A couple of other games before we get to the Sunday night and Monday night. Eagles and the Vikings. This could be interesting because Philly has not been the same this year, although Minnesota has struggled a little bit. It's Philly -1.5. I'm going to take Philly. Philly on the road at Minnesota.
Yeah, so you said favored by 1.5 away at Minnesota. Minnesota just played 2 back-to-back games in Europe. Eagles looked a little shaky the last 2 weeks. Can't really figure out their offense, but then again, Vikings can't figure out their offense either. It's kind of limping along as well under Wentz. I trust the Eagles in the tush push slightly more than I trust the Vikings offense at the moment. So Eagles win. That would probably be an ugly game as well. Not much offense, but Eagles I trust a little more.
Yeah, I agree. This game isn't going to look great, but, and the Eagles, like, when their passing offense is like 28th or something like that, which is crazy with the weapons that they have. And Saquon, another guy I have on my fantasy team, Saquon just has not had those explosive big games that we're used to.
I want to get rid of him, but then at the same time, it's just my luck every time I get rid of somebody and then they ball out the next week.
Well, yeah, in the JTV Fantasy Football League, hit me up about that trade. I might take him here at a low. I
need all I can get. I'm 1-5. So,
but yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles here. I think they're still just more a better well-rounded team than the Vikings are. This could be close, but I'm going to take the Eagles.
The Packers going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. I
know who you're taking.
I mean, I you know who I'm going to take, but it just it took a while to get going against Cincinnati last week. bye week before that, and then the tie before that against. I'm still upset about that tie with the Cowboys. Cardinals though have struggled, and I think Green Bay needs a game where they just really explode on offense, and Josh Jacobs has a big game because Green Bay's running game has suddenly gone away this year. Although Josh Jacobs, I still think is the third best running back in the NFL, or fourth. Last few weeks maybe have changed that, but I think Green Bay needs to get the run game going, and I think this would be the game against Arizona. So they're minus 6.5 in Arizona. Go Pack.
Yeah, with the Cardinals, I don't think it matters. Murray or Brissett doesn't really change my thought either who plays. I have become a de facto / closet Packers fan. My girlfriend is actually from Racine.
Thank you. Yeah.
A couple years ago, we actually went to that Packer game at the end of the season where the Lions beat them. I'm still a Lions fan first, but I am a Justin Love fan. I am a Matt LaFleur fan. Rashad Gary from Michigan.
Yep.
So with my girlfriend being a Packer fan, I've paid much more attention the last 3 years than I ever have. I think Parsons is getting in shape. The offense has got a couple weapons back with Dobbs. Defense is great. I don't think Cardinals have a shot. Packers over the Cardinals in Arizona, 34-24. Hopefully I have Parsons in fantasy. Hopefully it'll be a coming out party for him. Maybe he can get over that 11, 12 point hurdle that I was hoping he'd be with all year. So let's go Pack. Cheesehead.
I hate that. But I mean, honestly, Packers are going to win this game. Now, I said that about the Browns. I said that about the Cowboys. Didn't quite happen there. At least you tied in the Cowboys game.
Thanks for reminding us.
I always have to remind that to Packers fans. But I do think Packers win this game, and I even think it will be not even close. I think this is that week that I know. This is the week that I think people are going to remember that Packers are a really good contending team. So I think they win 17-21, something like that, around that range. So I will take the Packers in this game. And right now, I don't know who's going to start at quarterback for the Cardinals. Murray is still questionable. But like what Nick said, I don't think it's going to matter too much. I think the Packers are going to win. I think Cardinals are a better team with Kyler Murray on the field, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference in this game. So I'm taking Green Bay.
Give us the North, too.
No, you're not going to win that.
Because,
I'm actually going to the Packers game. I'm going the 21st of November to watch the Vikings up there. So
nice.
I'll be in Lambeau in about a month.
Oh, that's
there
sick.
You go. We were trying to figure out a game to go to this year at Lambeau, but I think the, schedules didn't work out. Also, it's tough when we have football. We have one Saturday football game too, plus postseason.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to go back to Lambeau. We try to make that a yearly thing. We went a couple of years ago. I think the last one I went to was when it was at home against Seattle. This was Russell Wilson's last year with Seattle. And Green Bay, I think, beat them. It was low scoring. It was like 17-18-0, I think. It was a bad game, and it started snowing, but that was part of the experience there. The frozen tundra.
Yeah, come on.
Packers home win. Sunday Night Football here. 2 more games. Niners hosting the Falcons. If this game would have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have said the Niners big. But Atlanta has been playing a lot better. They just got a huge upset win over Buffalo. Buffalo's been really sucking the last few weeks. But I will take Mac Jones and the 49ers.
Mac Jones?
Yeah, Falcons look good on Monday. Niners are hit or miss. I think Bijan is actually the new and improved McCaffrey. I have McCaffrey in fantasy. He's solid, but I think Robinson is just the new regime of running backs in the NFL. He gets it going on San Francisco without Warner, which is out for the year. Falcons 21, Niners 17. Jones does the backup quarterback. You're good for 3. You can win me 3, but you can lose me the next 3 as a backup in the NFL. So I think he has an off game. Falcons win tight.
Yeah, we're in the same wavelength here, Nick, because I agree. I mean, I was impressed with Mac Jones week 1, the first week he played, maybe even the second week, but I think Warner on defense is going to be such a huge loss for them. I think McCaffrey still plays well, and with the Falcons playing on Monday night, shorter turnaround doing the Sunday night game, but I think the Falcons look so good with one of the best running backs in the league. Maybe they do have their starting quarterback in Michael Penix. So I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I think it will be very, very close. This is going to be a fun game to watch, but give me Atlanta. I'll take the team with a starting quarterback over a backup.
And the Monday night game. There are 2 Monday night games, but we'll just do the one.
The important one.
The Lions at home favored -5.5 against Baker and Tampa Bay. Detroit coming off a terrible loss last week to Kansas City, although it wasn't mostly their fault. 0 penalties on Kansas City. I like Baker. I've been a Baker fan, and I like Tampa, but it was a tough game against Kansas City, but still the Lions are still the Lions, so give me the Honolulu Blue at home over Tampa.
Fan.
I will actually be in attendance for this game on Monday night.
No way.
All right.
My girlfriend, her birthday present, club seats. She has strangely become a Bakes fan since Burrow's down. She had Burrow. She likes Burrow, but he's not playing, so now she's grappled on to Baker Mayfield. I tell you guys, I don't know if you guys have significant others or what, but I've been married twice, divorced twice, and it's so nice having someone that enjoys sporting events. You can talk sports, golf with. So, it's really fun having someone to do these sporting events with. But back on track, I think Detroit, they're going to be struggling a little bit. They got some players out on defense, but they might get the big guy in the middle back, which will be a huge. Tampa might be without Ibuka and Evans, and I know Bucky's out for sure. That helps a ton. Detroit's going on a bye week afterwards. I think they're going to put it all on the line. Lions 38, Bucks 31. It'll be a fun shootout type of game, but I think the Lions have the ball last, score a touchdown, and win.
Yeah, you want to be with somebody who knows sports like you, not just somebody. Why do they run it in the middle of the big pile every time? Why don't they just walk around them?
Why are they running out of bounds all the time? It's ridiculous. One pride. I'm obviously going to take the Lions here. I think I've said before, one of my favorite receivers in all of football is Emeka Ibuka. I think he's unbelievable. Without him and without Mike Evans and without Bucky Irvin, that is a huge, huge loss for them. And I think even with the Lions secondary being beaten up and a lot of these players on defense being beaten up, I still like the Lions. I think this is sort of a revenge game for the Buccaneers, knowing they got eliminated from the playoffs by them a couple years ago. But this is also a little bit of a revenge game for the Lions because they know what happened last week and they want to erase what happened there. So Lions are going to win this game. And I don't think it's really going to be that close, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Yeah, this might be the best time to get Tampa Bay because I think once they get all these people back, they're going to make a run towards the end of the season. So this might be a fact of it's not who you play, but when you play them.
Yeah, and when they get everybody back, I think they're an NFC championship contender. So this is, like you said, Nick, this is the perfect time to face them.
Yeah, for sure. We finally got through all of our games, man. I said before the show, we've got a lot of games. But we have some decent high school games. Obviously, Napoleon Center is the big one. You'll see that live on JTV on Friday night at 6:45 with me, Dan Gallagher, Pat O'Dowd, and Max Fritz. That's going to be an awesome game. Everything on the line. We'll get to that at the end of the show. We'll talk briefly more about that. Nick, before we go, you mentioned it earlier too. Vandercook Lake is the home of Alliance Service Brands. How's everything going there? And tell us a little bit about ASB. And you're also with the brokerage house too, correct?
Yes, me and Brad Essex. He is my business partner along with his brother Ryan, but Brad and I are both realtors, and the brokerage house does carry our license. Pretty good. We really enjoy being at Vandercook Lake. Just coming up on 4 years. We have a couple subsidy companies called Brick by Brick, which is our construction arm, and we have a handyman company, which is called the Handyman Company. really no job too big, no job too small. We can do additions. We can do new build. We're getting the cement. We've got a lot of decks this year. Things are going well. It's fun to be right now. The construction industry is doing really well. Lots of people want to get stuff done at their house. So if you need anything, let me know.
Yeah, Nick, and then thanks so much for advertising with JTV. I was the one that worked on your commercials, so thanks so much for supporting JTV and supporting high school athletics.
Yeah, no, I love it. I used to be a soccer referee, high school, college, and some semi-pro, and I got out of that after COVID, but I still like to keep track of, football, soccer, basketball in the local area. It's always fun to see these schools, these high school sports. So.
Now, really quick, I know you mentioned the one arm of it, brick by brick construction. I've seen a lot, and not just in construction, but other industries too, where prices and labor and everything has gone way up, especially because of some of these tariffs that are starting to take effect. So really quick, has that impacted anything that you guys do with construction?
Not necessarily. I mean, really, the prices kind of went bonkers for COVID, and they really never came back down. So they came back down slightly, but with the new, not to get too political, but with the new president and the tariffs, we haven't seen much difference since those have been started. So unfortunately, right now, things are just expensive. And it's hard. We go out to do estimates at people's houses, and I mean their jaws drop. They just people are trying to do remodels of kitchens and baths, or build out their basements, and I think 20 grand doesn't go as far as it used to, unfortunately. It's tough, but there's still tons of construction going on, and lots of houses being sold. So I think Michigan is a little bit better circumstances than some other areas in the country for not only the construction industry, but the real estate and industry as well. So unfortunately, we're pretty lucky here in southern central Michigan.
Yeah, and I got to say, you guys do beautiful work. The house that I went to film for the commercial, you guys were doing it all, and you guys put in some beautiful stuff there. So you guys are doing a great job out there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again to Prate's Place for helping us bring you the game picks. Prate's Place in downtown Grass Lake. More content with them coming up shortly. Nick Laporte on the show. Nick, thanks again. We appreciate it.
No, thank you. I'm going to keep track of all these picks this week, and I'm going to beat you too. So.
There you go. Nick Laporte here on JTV. We'll be right back. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to Prate's Place for the game picks, and thanks to Nick Laporte for joining the show.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, great discussion about some of the games. Even he gave a few shout-outs along the way. So thanks to Nick Laporte, and we'll find out how we do on the picks come Monday. Before we go and tell you about the game Friday again with Napoleon in center, ALCS Blue Jays Mariners game 4 is tonight, Wednesday night. Seattle looking to close it out. They've just, and especially game 2 scoring, I believe it was 9 or 10 runs. Seattle unexpectedly against the Blue Jays. I knew it was going to be a good series between both teams, but I didn't expect Seattle to be able to run away with it like this.
Well, especially with Seattle being on the road as well. Crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
And, same thing with the Dodgers, which we'll get to in a second. But, yeah, I mean, Seattle has looked extremely impressive, wondering kind of what Detroit could have done if we would have got past them in that final game. But, I'm excited to see what happens. I talked to you about this earlier, that Max Scherzer is the probable pitcher for game 4. We'll see if if they decide to do that.
I can't believe that. You told me that earlier.
I know. Max
Scherzer still starting in a playoff game this late in his career.
Yeah, he'll have his first start of the postseason. But, I think Seattle, I originally went into the series thinking Toronto was going to have it. Now I think it's a tough ask for Toronto to try to win these games in Seattle. You got 3 straight in Seattle, so we'll see what happens. I think it's 3 straight, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I really like Seattle. And then moving on to the NLDS, the Dodgers up 2-0 there.
Yeah, they've just been really dominating the first 2 games, especially game 2. Yoshi Yamamoto, unreal.
Oh, Yamamoto
Tuesday
is crazy.
night, 111 pitches, a complete game. Only allowed 3 hits and 1 walk.
Yep.
And they talked about it on the broadcast too, and I was surprised by it. I agree with them. He was doing great. Keep him in there. Not disagreeing with that, but also you have to factor in it's postseason. You're going to want to use him again.
Yeah.
I mean, they will in the World Series if they make it there at least twice.
Yeah.
But you figure I would have pulled him earlier just to save his arm. You're up 5-1 going into the 9th inning, and up 4-1, I think, going into the 8th. Either some part in the 8th or after the 8th, that's when I would have pulled him just to be safe.
Yeah.
Not to go too high on the pitch count because he went 111 pitches.
Yeah.
Nobody's done, I don't think, over 110 this year. Been a long time. And it's first time in quite a few years since Baumgartner and Cueto, I think in 2016, they said too, where both games back-to-back Dodgers starting pitchers pitched at least 8 innings.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's crazy.
I just would have pulled him earlier just to be safe, especially in the postseason.
Right. I mean, like when you
Because
look,
he could get hurt any time. You don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you look at their rotation though, and I wrote this down just because I could probably do it off of memory, but just to make sure I had it right, it's according to their depth chart. So this isn't exactly who they're going to pitch in a row, but it's just like Yamamoto, Ohtani, Snell, Glasnow, Kershaw is their pitching rotation on top of their insane lineup. On top of that, it's crazy. It's one of the best rotations I've ever seen in a postseason series.
Oh, absolutely. And on top of Sasaki in the bullpen.
Yeah, he's coming out of the bullpen. It's ridiculous. He's closing out games.
That's how ridiculous the Dodgers are to have a guy like him out of the bullpen.
And it's like their bullpen hasn't been fantastic, but they have all those.
But they
names.
haven't needed to use him the first 2 games,
and they have all those names in their bullpen as well that are established guys. So it's crazy. I mean, they are the clear favorites. Vegas has them at -167 to win the World Series, and Seattle at +170 to win the World Series, and then it's Toronto +1500, Milwaukee +1800, obviously because they're down 2-0. But I mean, the Dodgers are the easy favorite to win it all again. I'd be shocked if they don't, but I think Seattle is on a little bit of a hot streak right now, even after the 15-inning game. So,
yeah, and then you get to the World Series. Let's say it is Seattle and the Dodgers. Seattle scored a lot of runs, but the Dodgers pitching has been historic.
Yeah,
really historic. So how does Seattle attack that?
Yeah,
because you're gonna face Yamamoto again. If Scherzer has to pitch one game or come in relief.
He's Toronto.
Right. But if he pitches again, you'll see a veteran like him with postseason experience.
Right.
You'll see Ohtani.
Yeah.
So how does Seattle attack that?
Right. And to me, like looking at these standings, like Toronto has a better shot at coming back against Seattle than I see the Brewers, even though they were the best team in the regular season, coming back against the Dodgers. So you could see Toronto come back and pick up a few wins and make this a series. But I think the Dodgers have this NLCS on lock, in my opinion. I know Stephen A. Smith's like, it's over. It's over.
It is, I think.
I don't know if it's completely over, but I think the Dodgers are going to win this series. I don't see them dropping these. I think Milwaukee could try to make it competitive.
I think we'll tell once Game 3 gets going, and we'll see if Milwaukee can answer early.
Right.
If they get down in a hole, it's over.
It's a must-win. This next game is a must-win for them, and it's a must-win for both teams.
Because they're not coming
down
back
2-0.
3-0.
Yeah, and that's for both teams. But I think,
I mean, I'll pencil in now Seattle and the Dodgers.
You could, but I think Toronto has a shot, more of a shot than the Brewers do of coming back. But we'll see. I'm excited. This has been a great postseason so far.
Absolutely. Before we go, again, subscribe to JTV Sports. We, as I mentioned at the in the opening of the show, we have the boys soccer district finals happening Wednesday and Thursday this week. We've got the girls golf state finals this weekend. We've got the boys tennis state finals next week. And then this week is already week 8 of high school football with conference championships next week. So subscribe for free and to all your favorite schools, more than one, too. And we'll keep you up to date with everything happening with your school. 6:45 Friday night, presented by Minuteman Sewer and Drain Cleaning, Week 8, Napoleon at Michigan Center. We've been talking about it all week. I am excited for this one.
One of the games of the year, easily, with everything that's on the line.
Yeah, I think Northwest Western and this game are probably my top 2 that we've done so far this year.
And then overall, I'd throw Leslie Michigan Center in there as the other big game that, and I was a big fan of Divine Child versus Lumen. I thought that was going to be a great game. Turned out to be a great game.
I only didn't include that because I was not on the call.
That's true. I forgot about that.
But I said it earlier too. Like, this is a winnable game for Napoleon. You look at 5-2, 7-0. You can easily make the argument, especially with how many points Center's scored. Center's going to score a bunch of points and run away. That's not going to be the case. Yeah. But I do think if Napoleon wins, it's going to have to be low scoring, especially with the power T offense, because Napoleon, they just scored 30 against Leslie, really good Leslie team.
Oh, yeah.
And they scored 42 against Hanover, a really good Hanover team, which we'll likely see next week live for the championship. But Napoleon normally doesn't have quick 2-3 minute drives. They don't throw the ball around and get down the field and chunk plays. They like the 7, 8, 9 minute drives, 4 or 5 yards at a time. And that's how they're going to have to win this, keep it low scoring, and wear the defense down. And we'll talk about it more in the pregame show Friday, but for the Bernstein advantage, my biggest thing is Napoleon's offensive line versus Center's D line. Because Napoleon's offensive line, they wouldn't be able to do what they do this year without them. The offensive line is their offense. Yeah. That's the heart and soul. But Center's D line, each game has had several players with multiple sacks each. So whoever wins that battle between those two lines is going to decide the game. So, I'm looking forward to it. Myself, Pat O'Dow, Dan Gallagher, and Max Fritz, and our entire crew helping to bring you the game Friday night. So we will see you Friday live at Michigan Center at 6:45 with the College Chevrolet pregame show. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. Thank you to Brait's Place, and thanks to Nick Laporte. Hope to have him back on again soon.
Yes,
and
for sure.
We will see you Friday and then again Monday.
Bye-bye.